Okay, so Special Forces Season 4, Episode 3. And this one, eh, nobody survived nobody passed the first challenge, which was urban warfare and making sure you leave no man behind. Now, um, I'm surprised that Johnny, who's supposed to be a quarterback, didn't notice. Now, granted, they didn't actually show it, it was just a montage, but it sounded like they totally missed the second American casualty, which again, I would think that as a quarterback you would notice shit like that. But obviously it wasn't just his hubris of, oh, I'm so great I don't need to actually work. There's more to it than that. So that surprised me. Also, what surprised me was Brie. You know, that she and, was it Chrissy Rampone, they just followed Cody. It's like, yeah, let's, don't worry about him. We got our guy. And then later, they didn't, throw him under a bus and say, yeah, we were just following him. Very, very strange. Speaking of Cody and Brie, Cody, when asking her about her profession, she mentioned she's a podcaster, which is all the rage these days. So, nothing to be shocked about. But his reaction was, really? That's your qualification for being here? I'm sorry, your qualification is you can't keep it in your pants. Now, granted, that's mean. I shouldn't shame him for being polygamous, but seriously, how is that a better qualification to be on the show than hers? She's a podcaster. She empowers women. From what I've read, that's what she does. Her videos are meant to empower women to see the signs of abuse and get help. And so, ironically, she became the victim of emotional abuse. Which is another reason why her just following what Cody was saying was so annoying. It's like, this guy just pretends he knows what the fuck he's talking about. He obviously doesn't. So in a way, I'm glad that they failed. Simply because maybe, some sense will enter that brain of his. Because what the heck? He decided that because he's in a group with two women, he can boss them around, which was super annoying. And even more annoying was that they let him. That really bugged the heck out of me. So anyway, Nick was being very whiny. Now, I get, not having tensile strength in your hands, because I have that issue myself. However, he literally made a name for himself dribbling a basketball. Now, I understand that most NBA players do better with one hand than the other. But at the same time, I was not aware that they're completely incapable of using their other hand. I mean, it's possible. I mean, a lot of people just can use one hand. Then there are others who are a bit more ambidextrous, but so I guess it's possible that he literally can only use one hand. However, he does say he always works out. And last I checked, there aren't that many exercises that only utilize one hand. So yeah. Randall was trying to get him to, trying to help him, and it just didn't work out well at all. And of course, the sucky thing about both this and the second challenge is that if one person failed, everybody fails. Which, that makes sense because it seems unfair, but at the same time, if you're in a real life situation, chances are it's not a matter of one person survives and the others don't. So I do get it. Though it doesn't seem fair. So, nobody passed. Literally nobody passed that challenge. So they all go back and Jussie is just coughing and coughing and coughing. Now, I don't think he was coughing in last episode. So this was something that he just got in this episode. And he brushed it off as, dust everywhere. So, which, fair. Now, he kind of ticked me off because he and Ravi were talking about the incident. And he's saying, oh, I'm over it. All the while getting increasingly pissed off while talking about it. I'm sorry if you're completely over it. Why are you getting pissed off? So, I mean, I get it that, the memory of it is annoying. I do get that. But he was getting a little too pissed off for someone who claims to be over it. So, he goes to the medic, and it turns out he got some sort of an allergy, and it's inflamed his lungs. And it doesn't take a flippin' genius to realize that he cannot continue, because it's way too dangerous. So that sucks, obviously, because I really was rooting for him. As I said, there's very few recruits that I actively root against. Jussie, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, and I was rooting for him to improve. Now, the fact that he's closed off about that incident, not a great look, but regardless, I still wanted him to do well. So that sucked. So he became the fourth person to leave the competition. So there's 16 left. So then we get to the second challenge. And in this challenge, they have to do an extraction. So they run up to the roof and then they have to they have to walk across the ladder. Now, this is where I was very annoyed with the montage because of all the people they did not show that I desperately wanted them to show was Shawn. Seriously, she was an all-around gymnast, don't get me wrong, but she was also really good at every, It wasn't like, oh, she was an all-around gymnast, but that's because she was really good, but not gold medal worthy in all the events, and that just added up to her being an all-around champ. She's a gold medalist in balance beam. So if you showed anybody doing well at that challenge, why could it not have been Shawn? Because that's what she did for a good part of her life. Why did you not show us? I mean, I get it. You wanted to concentrate on the teams where there was failure because of one person not doing well. But at the same time, come on, a lot of people who are fans of Shawn Johnson or just simply know who she is probably wanted to see her and how she walked across the ladder. Because, again, if anybody could do it beautifully, it would be her. So, yeah, I was really, really bummed that they did not show her. I would have been fine if they didn't show her husband or whomever else was in her team. I would have been fine with that. Just show Shawn. But no, they couldn't do that. So yeah, maybe at some point there'll be some deleted scene and we'll be able to see that because I was really excited to see it. So, Christy, I was really bummed that she failed. I'm pretty sure that Foxy, because she mentioned she's a retired soccer player, I think he got, a little fanboy and was, when he kept asking her if she played in England, I think he was really hoping that she would not just say, but of course, that she would say that she played for a specific team. Not just that, of course, she played in England because, she was a member of the U.S. national team. I think he was hoping she would name a team so he could bond with her over that. That's probably the closest we've seen of them breaking the facade of we're the staff, we're the recruiters, you're the recruits, and, we're just going to chew your asses. This was the closest they've ever come to during a challenge of them being excited about who the recruit is. So I don't know if they just edited out her mentioning a specific team or if she just said, yeah, I just, played in England, part of the national team. I didn't play for a club in England. So I'm not sure because he asked twice. So I'm not sure how that went. But, yeah, I'm thinking he was probably trying to dig for a specific team. So it was kind of a bummer that she failed. Nick, I actually saw this on someone's Instagram. One of the guys, I think it might have been Foxy's, but I'm not sure. Foxy's or Q's, I'm not sure, mocking Nick for being afraid because he's, he had a harness on. But his biggest fear wasn't falling, even though he is afraid of heights. It was the fact, now it was, part of this was the fear of heights, but the fact is, he was afraid of the fact that he was too heavy for the ladder. Because everybody else we saw, the ladder stayed straight. when he was walking on the ladder started to bend. It started to dip. And I don't care if you're in a harness. If you are afraid of heights, and if that ladder is starting to bend under your weight, it's going to freak you out. Of course it is. Because number one, phobias are generally irrational. So if you have a phobia, it doesn't matter that you are harnessed in. You are freaking out. And I was hoping throughout the entire time that even though he was saying he was going to touch the ladder, he was going to hold on to the ladder, I was really, really hoping that he would just continue walking as he was. But no, he freaked out and he grabbed onto the ladder, but you could tell all the staff were really, really bummed because they were really hoping he would overcome his fear. And I was bummed as well because, again, you do not do a show like this if you don't intend to overcome a fear. Now, it's easier said than done. I have height fright myself, so it's easier said than done. But I'm also one of those who, if I can afford it, I'm not going on heights. And when I say not going on heights, like looking over and, looking down on the ground, because I literally get dizzy. And so I do get it that you might think, oh, my intention is to overcome my fear, but easier said than done. You get into that position and you're like, okay. So yeah, I do get it, but it's still a bummer. You're totally rooting for him to overcome the fear. And I have to admit, this is the first time they were walking across an object like this, where the staff is telling them, move quick, move quick, move quick. Because there's that one challenge that they do where they tell you, go slow, and then they have you touch your toes, come back up, and continue walking. So I don't know if that's going to still be a challenge. And God damn it, I hope they show Sean if she's still involved. Because I'm still really, really annoyed that they did not show her. Let's see. So, except for the beginning where they're like, where's Jussie? I assume that at some point when they did the second challenge, they were told that Jussie has been pulled because he has an allergy and inflamed lungs, or just that he was medically pulled and not give specifics either way. But I would like to think that they just didn't show it, but that they actually did tell them that he was pulled out. Which, like I said, sucks, but it's better to go out that way than, voluntarily withdrawing. And I don't mean in the sense of how Brittany did, because her body just said, nope. I mean in the sense of how Teresa did it. It's like, if you believe her reasoning that she doesn't want to watch her kid fight, that's just, I really do think, maybe that's part of it, but I really still think that she just didn't want to be there. That the holding your breath was just too much for her, and she just used this as an excuse. But regardless, it's still better to be medically withdrawn. It sucks that you're not leaving on your own terms, like Brittany did, but at least you're not saying, I don't feel like doing this anymore, so I'm quitting. So, but it still all the same sucks that his body gave out. I mean, he sees it as he's quitting, but he's not quitting. His body gave out. He had, maybe it's a fluke allergy, just like Gus Kenworthy in the first season, that he came so close, so very, very close to finishing. He was one episode away, and then he got a fluke allergy, which never was repeated again. So it could be the same thing with Jesse. We don't know. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to mention this episode. Next episode, they showed them crawling through a tunnel, and I'm not completely sure, but I think it was Cody who said he's stuck. And the way he's been acting, my response is, leave him there. I know it's mean and totally not the point of the exercise, but at the same time, I'm just so fed up with him. I mean, thinking that somehow being a polygamist and being a reality TV star because of your polygamy is somehow better than being a podcaster who empowers girls. I mean, what the hell? Now, whether it's because she said she's a podcaster or that she's a podcaster that empowers girls, and that's the part that he was upset about because, he made it known from day one what he thinks of women. He's still self-aware enough to know it's sexist, but still, it doesn't change the fact that he's a colossal piece of shit when it comes to that. Let me see. Oh yes, I forgot the interrogations, the tactical questionings. First they talked with Bree because she would constantly talk back. So then we learned about her relationship with Zach Bryan, who I've heard the name, know nothing about him, and based on what Bree said, I'm glad I don't. And this is how insidious abusers are. Because here's this woman who teaches other women and girls how to empower themselves and how to see red flags and not fall for abusers and not get caught in that trap. And she got caught. And she, for a while, couldn't get out and actually was contemplating offing herself. And that's how insidious abusers are. I actually had a coworker who shocked the heck out of me because she seemed very confident, felt very self-assured, very stand your ground, very willing to stand up for others. And I found out that her ex-husband, that he was an abuser, that he was physically abusive and of course emotionally. And it's because he managed to cut her off from family, so she didn't have that support system. And like I said, it shocked the heck out of me because she didn't strike me as the kind of person who would do a thing like that. Which tells you just how insidious abusers are. They can take even women who are confident and who are self-assured and break them down. Because they understand psychology that much that they know how to make a woman who's normally confident lose their self-esteem. So, And I'm pretty sure that that's why she's always so defensive. It's not that she has attitude, it's the fact that she always felt the need with this guy to be on the defensive because of the abuse. So, so I'm pretty sure that that got across to the staff that's like, oh, this is an attitude, this is a defense mechanism. And again, which is why it drove me nuts that she was willing to just follow Cody, especially after he mocked her job. It's like, why are you listening to the douchebag? Seriously, what the hell is wrong with you? So that was the first one. And the second one was Nick, because they felt he wasn't taking the course seriously, which that's not the way I took it. I took it more as, that's how he reacts to stress, to extreme stress, which, how the fuck did he manage to be a NBA player? Because I can't imagine that that's a walk in the park. But that's the way it happened. So yeah, they felt because he's smiley and, joke around, and it turns out he does that, that became his personality after his brother was killed by one of the Bloods. For those who aren't from the US, or I don't know if these two gangs are still the major gangs in LA, but the two major gangs at one point in LA were the Crips and the Bloods. Now, I don't know if Nick's brother was, because he was with another guy, so I don't know if he was a member of the Crips, who Nick's brother was just friends with, or it was an initiation, or they just happened to be in the wrong neighborhood. I don't know. My ears are, I was having an allergy attack and my ears are still plugged. So I don't know if I just missed it or so yeah. Nick seemed to be a lot calmer after that. He had a good cry, and kudos to him for admitting he cried, because there are a lot of men, and I'm sure that Cody is going to chalk this off as a weakness of Nick, that he actually admitted that he cried. It wouldn't surprise me one freaking bit. Of course, Cody, if he had any sense, which I don't think he does, probably won't say that to Nick, because the height difference is such that he could crush him like a soda can. So, if Cody is smart, which he's not going to say anything to Nick. But I have no doubt that he thinks less of Nick for admitting that he cried, regardless of what the reason for why he cried was. I'm pretty sure that he would think less of him. Let's see, what else? Oh, yes. They put Andrew and Sean again together. Now, I would love to see them separate the married couples, because I mean, it's great that they have that support system, that built-in support system, but I thought the point is to see how they do on their own. I realize that this was a team challenge, both of them, but let's mix it up and not put Sean and Andrew together or Eric and Jesse James together. just to see how they do having to watch the other person, not just in the boxing round, but just, not being able to help at all. To have to rely on the other recruits. But maybe they're also doing it to see if they can, I don't know, break up a marriage? I mean, I honestly don't know what the point is. Let's see. Granted, I saw a headline said that Sean and Andrew's marriage is even stronger now since they did it. So maybe that's the point. Let's see if there's anything else I missed. Um, I believe I covered everything I wanted to this episode. So with that, I will see you guys in the next one.